Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which takes place every October and now in its 19th year, is a collaboration between government and private industry to raise awareness about digital security and empower everyone to protect their personal data from digital forms of crime. Jack Naglieri, formerly a security practitioner working at companies like Airbnb and Yahoo, is now the founder and CEO of Panther Labs. He joins me to discuss what it's like to be a cybersecurity founder in the current landscape. Jack, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Hey, Joe, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
You got it. And why are security practitioners who've personally lived with a specific problem the best founders to start companies to solve them? What's it like being a cybersecurity founder in the current landscape?
I think the reason that founders who come from the security space are best suited is that they've built empathy after living the problems internally for many years. Being a founder today is really interesting just because the industry is such a ripe opportunity for disruption. A lot of the tools that we've been using as practitioners for many years have been effectively underserving the needs of security teams today when it comes to the scale requirements or the cost requirements and making sure that we're empowering teams to stay up to date as we all move to the cloud.
What's the day in the life of a modern security practitioner look like?
It's pretty stressful. I lived in the teams for many years. I was a practitioner for about 8 years myself, and it's really difficult to work in a security team. You have an immense responsibility in protecting your organizations from breaches. So a lot of things practitioners have to do today are very time bound, and they're very focused on making sure that we're responding in a way that is very comprehensive. We're protecting our organizations from breaches, and it can really lead to burnout over time.
Despite the economic downturn, investors continue to aggressively seek out opportunities to fund the next generation of cybersecurity tools. Why do you think that is?
I think there's just still so much ripe for disruption right now in security, and investors are looking at founders who have lived that problem to really come and solve it. And that's actually why we see a lot of these modern security companies coming into existence where the founders were prior practitioners. So we're looking at the space, and with the transition to cloud, there's been a lot of other companies that have really come about that help that transition, and security is now following suit there and making sure that the tools that we have to our disposal as practitioners are very modernized, very cloud focused, and able to really scale for the next 10 years of supporting security teams.
Let's talk about Panther Labs specifically, having raised $140 million and reached a $1.4 billion valuation within the past 3 years. What will the proceeds allow the company, or what has the proceeds allowed the company to do?
Yeah, it's been great. We have used that money to really scale the team and make sure that we can support the customers that we've worked so hard to aggressively obtain in the last few years. Make sure that we're alongside with them with their security journey, and we're really investing in the product. I mean, product is the most important thing. We're here to build a product to serve the security practitioners, and everything else sort of flows to support that. So the funding has allowed us to grow our team. We're actually based out in San Francisco as well. So we primarily operate in California, but we have a team remotely throughout the US, and then really support the rest of telling the message of what we're working on and how we're really helping teams.
So, Jack, you had mentioned before that there is a high level of burnout for security practitioners. Do you think security teams are being held back by legacy tools and trying to marry those infrastructures with the newer products that you're working on?
Absolutely. Teams have really struggled in the past just because of the cost of running a system. It's called a SIM. So SIMs are just very expensive to run in general. And really what they do is they're the eyes and ears of a security team. And oftentimes what ends up happening is because they're so expensive, security teams have to make trade-offs of which data that they take in to understand what's happening in their organization. So as you can imagine, that can lead to things like blind spots. And in the event of a breach, you don't want any blind spots. You need to see everything. So cost being a limiting factor there is really a disadvantage. And teams are spending millions of dollars on these tools. And in Panther, because we've designed it very cloud native, very modern, it costs a fraction of that. So cost is the first thing. Speed in terms of how fast we can get our answers to security questions is really important too. It's probably the most important thing during a breach, because every second counts when you're responding to breaches. And then scalability and sustainability, things like automation as well. How do we make sure that we're not doing repetitive manual tasks all the time and really getting the most efficiency out of the teams that we have, given that security is such an understaffed field. So that's some of what we're still dealing with today.
Why must organizations embrace technology to address the cybersecurity problems our organizations face today? And what do you think the future of cybersecurity defense is going to look like?
I think that teams have to fully embrace modern designs, modern tools, and really embrace this move to the cloud. We've seen this massive shift in the last 10 years, and security following suit there is really going to make sure that we're prepared for the next wave of defending against cyber attacks.
All right, Jack, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks, Jill.